captain upon the fervent drift, and these are three of my wonderful players here this evening with me, ready to take on more of the village of Toronol. But before we get into that, is there anyone that would care to regale us a tale of events past gone? I have put the session notes in the channel. There's a PDF in the Discord for you. If you go to the Story Notes channel, there's a session handout for last session. I need to sort out Archie at the moment. So I'm recording the session, I'll upload the recording and do it that way. That's alright. Yep. That's right. That's right. So I've put you guys in the complete wrong place. So, yes, you guys were indeed inside this tavern, and the barkeep had very much been giving his flirtations in a particular direction. Let's get this up as well for myself. And as we left off, if I remember rightly, he had just offered a glass of wine towards Luna the Night Swarm. And you had indeed identified some local contacts. So, as the evening progresses here in the tavern, things are quite pleasant. You know, they are rather relaxed. There's no great stress or intrusions, shall we say. You see the miners, they are, as they do most nights, getting themselves very merry before heading off home for a few hours sleep before heading back to work. And I have completely forgotten the character names here. Oh Christ. Nope. Yes, let me just share the map with you. There you go. Might take a little bit. Nope, that's not it. Who the flip was this? Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Mr. Kearney. Oh, that's it, Gabrielle. Yes. So, after the tavern quietens down, Gabrielle will approach the party. So, darlings, how was your first evening here at my fine establishment? Wonderful, darlings. Well, if you would care to head to your lodgings, and I have a special invitation for you, Sir Luna, if you care to receive. A quiet drink by the fireplace, as promised. So, you can tell me this now. Nice. Oh, Meg's just reconnected. So, you did get your rooms. Just need to exit you out of these. So, as you guys head up the stairs towards the very narrow corridor that is the hall of rooms, you would see there are some windows on your left hand side, and as you look out these windows, you would see the village square. Now, the village square has a large sort of monumentous statue in the middle with sort of a very loose turnover of the dirt to try and keep the area tidy. This large podium that I described to you last week that has the rope across the entranceway and sort of a stairway just up for local communities. You'd also see from the window the very large mansion that's over the way, and you would just get a peek over the top of the rooftop garden that this mansion has, and you can tell some real investment has gone into the construction of this building, as it's far superior in structure to the rest of the village, which you see is mostly shingle roofs and wooden huts. Now, so if you're looking at the map, hold on, let's put you to a window. I need to do that so I can see exactly what you're seeing. Oh, why is that so dark outside? It shouldn't be dark outside. Hold on. Ambient lighting, sunlight. There you go. So, there you go. So yeah, if you look over, you can see this building to the northeast of yourselves, with the very, very large building ahead. That's where the mayor's daughter told you that she basically calls a graveyard. Yes, so you've got 3 rooms here. He has effectively given you guys 2 rooms, so 2 double rooms, which would be the first 2. From the other rooms, you can hear monumentous snoring that's almost vibrating the walls. Someone is clearly in a very deep sleep in there. Now, Gabrielle, so Genevieve, I assume you're gonna head to your room? Yeah, sure. So you head to your room. Spinel, you have a room here. That's the wrong... That's right. Yeah, you can have this one. There you go. 2 beds in there. Now, Lunavar, Gabrielle comes up not long after you sort of had a look out the window. Oh, you're with me this way, darling. And leads you to his private quarters, all the way at the end. In which you'd see there's a small little fireplace, a nice large bed, and plenty of room. Like, he could put 3 or 4 more rooms in this one room, if he wanted to. Now, yeah, there would be chairs around. Or just sit on the chest. He says to you, now darling, your kind are not known around these parts. Why are you so far? So far away from home. It must be awfully lonely for you, as he sort of pulls out 2 glasses and tops them up with a nice, rich-looking red wine. Fascinating, darling. I think I remember describing him as a half-elf, with some very, very flamboyant quirks. and he comes over, sort of stands, whilst you're sort of sat down, sort of stands toe to toe with you as he hands over this glass of red wine. Well, darling, being alone by yourself, once you've felt the company of another, it's really... there's nothing quite like it, and you're always going to feel alone afterwards. It's been about 5 years since I saw my last love. He made the wrong decision, darling. He turned his blade towards one who could melt it with a sheer glance. And since then, well, I've been awfully cautious about adventurers wandering into my heart. Matador? Nor me, darling, but still, you can have your fun without all the messy things in between. All I would say is, be very, very careful about who you speak to. You see, darling, as wretched as Crudan is, he has the armies, the followers, and the loyalty, especially of those north from here. After this, my darling, you are facing nothing but fire. Metaphorical and literal. And I would hate to see such a fine figure be turned to nothing more than bone and ash. My loyalties lie, my darling, with life. Existing as peacefully as one may. There is no sense in throwing your life away for if death is guaranteed. Of course. So his posture is very, very confident. You know, he's very self-assured. But as you look into his eyes, you can see there is real pain, real suffering. Something he has been holding on to and holding back for a very long time. It's kind of a mix between anger and sadness. Half-elves are from half-elves are generally from all over the place. You know, for the most part, people don't mind half-elves. Even, you know, elves get along with them. The humans get along with them. The dwarves get along with them. They're very, very spread out. They're one of the more common species of people. You saw into that. Not many do, darling. There are stories, there is history, and then there is just pain. Sadly for me, I live in amongst all of them. My brothers hailed from a very distant land. ASOS. Many centuries ago, when these lands were first settled, it was my great-grandparents that landed in these parts, along with Castanerus. They said he was a three-headed dog, but how much of that I believe I don't know. But nevertheless, it was certainly an interesting tale. And then my forefathers, they saw the arrival of Crudan when he first came and calmed what they called the Violet Lake. Of course, now we know better. We know what lava does to the earth. And, well, if it's nothing else, that's one thing he's good for, is keeping that under wraps. If that was to explode suddenly, well, that could mean devastation for the entire island. But, yeah. You've met a three-headed dog, and he kind of looks at you with this concerned, almost like bewilderment. Darling, how much have you had to drink tonight? This wine is very, very rich. It reminds you of celebratory living, rather than, you know, the drinks of mourning, which are very common in the more recent years of those from Sanctuary. So they weren't telling lies. Well, that is interesting, I wonder. Bear with me 2 seconds, please. And he wanders over to the large chest, and you see him pull out this key. As he turns it 3 times to the left and a quarter turn to the right, you hear it unlatch. I don't know if this would be of any use to you. It served me well for some time, but again, I believe them just fables and stories, and, well, I no longer believe in fairy tales, but perhaps you can renew that hope. Here. And you see the title of the book. The Crossing from ASOS, as told by the bard Calendra, voice of Castanerus. Oh, darling, it's of no importance to me. I have my little hovel, and I'm quite happy here. I have no plans on leaving anytime soon. If you're not scorched to the ground, perhaps we can have another drink. But for now, I will just say this. If this story is true, then there are many others that are far more saddening. If Krudan is defeated, the land could return to how it once was. But that would not do anyone any favours. Magic will become unstable once more. Mount Shiaz will blow with violet red rivers, and the people will suffer because of it. And then they will assume the same position. You create a vacuum that can only be filled by something of equal power and size. As I say, these are only stories, darling, but there may be truth to them after all. I will leave it up to you to decide what you feel is right. And he will sort of lean in for a hug. And as you give him that hug, he sort of gives you a peck on the cheek and says, "Please don't go hurting that pretty little face. I will see you come the morning, and I'll have some fresh eggs and meat for you and your friends. Until then, darling, sleep well." So you go and join Spinel. By this point, I imagine is very much fast asleep, and the snoring next door is still very, very within earshot. Can I get a series of perception checks, please, with disadvantage as you're sleeping? It's the DIS just underneath the chat box. Okay. Yeah, I can chuck the roll out for you. It's not a problem. Where is it? Yeah, you can do it that way. You can do that. So during the night, you will hear something that makes you freeze to your core, coming from slightly overhead. That's all of you. of the windows, and you see the large shadow descending down as you hear the wing beats of this ancient red dragon as he lands and leaves large indentations in the beautiful foliage around. And you watch as his form turns into this geriatrical, red-haired, regal-looking gentleman in a velvet suit. And yep, sorry, go on. I mean, Spinel and yourself, you would just hear him come down. Genevieve, you would actually see him. You're also muted, Genevieve. So you hear the coming down of Crudan. All of you hear that, and as you look out the window, you see this ancient red dragon turn into this very geriatrical looking, regal, noble human with a tight velvet suit and this very, very striking red hair. And you watch as he crosses down below, crosses your sort of vision, and you see a rather plump dwarven gentleman, beard tightly braided, his hair shaven on both sides and almost sort of matted down to the top of his scalp into another sort of very, very tight braid at the back. Yep. So you leave the room, run next door, bang, 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 bang. You see Genevieve on the other side. They don't have a window in there. So as you guys run around to the room, I assume you're following as well, Spinel? Spinel, you're muted. I assume you're following. Cool. So yeah, you guys run round to the room, and as I say, you see this dwarf and this noble-looking gentleman around. Oh, there it is. Around about. No, come on, give me my ping mode. What are you doing? Around about here. And they seem to be talking. At the moment, the window's shut, so all you can see is sort of. And it looks like this conversation is getting quite heated quite quickly. if you open the window. Oops, sugar. Can you make me a sleight of hand check, whoever wants to open the window? I think Dark Mew might be able to, because, I mean, Mew will be there as well, but... There you go. You could give her a guidance. On a 16, you kind of stand next to the window and just sort of reach behind you and like that to kick it open. Wait a few moments until you feel it's safe and you can hear the voices of Krudan and the mayor. I told you once before, we are not allied with any rebellion, nor are we allied with yourself. All we wish is to be left in peace, and if paying you is not enough, then what else do you want us to do? Once upon a time, paying me was enough. But now, I have already quelled one rebellion. Their leader lies in 4 parts divided amongst my sons. And I have word that such rebellion is starting to stoke up in your village. Oh, why would that be, sir? Krudan, I'm telling you, get off of my land. We had an agreement. It's bad enough my daughter wanders off every chance she gets. I don't need you breathing down my neck like you're some kind of big boss man. Big boss man. No, you've got it wrong. I am no man. You are in my territory. I give you permission to exist. I'll give you until morning to find the ones who are trying to stoke this rebellion within my territory. And if they are not brought to me, then the entire village will burn under fire and ash. Hey, you're a fucking idiot. If people were trying to start a rebellion, all you're going to do is stoke the flames of that rebellion under your fucking nose. You have my demands. I'm not going to ask again. Why don't you call one of your little village meetings in the morning? You watch as his wings grow. He jumps into the air, transforming as he goes. His wings expanding nearly to the breadth of the mansion itself. And you watch as he begins to fly north. That was the mayor. Yes. So the conversation was talking about how he has been informed that someone in the village is trying to stoke a rebellion. And that this has... Don't forget, he knows you and he knows your faces. Yes, you did. He flew north. So you head into the mayor's now? Or are you gonna wait till the morning? Sure. So you guys head outside of the tavern. I need to remind myself. Doink, doink. Doink, doink. Go there. Ambience, dusk. Which side is this? What's that? So, you guys head all the way outside. And at this point, it is the very early hours of the morning, so dusk is just breaking. Dawn is just breaking, I should say. And you see him sort of heading into his house, into his mansion. And all the time you watch him, you see him sort of muttering to himself in what can only be described as frustration. mean, you can see there are a number of windows into the building. And again, most of them are locked or shut because of the time of day. Okay, so the morning comes round with relatively undisturbed night, and around sort of the true light of day, you see, or rather you hear first, the village bells ringing. Gabriel comes around and says, Darlings, we need to head to the village square. The mayor is about to present a speech, and unfortunately breakfast will have to wait momentarily. But I do promise you, sweethearts, that I will cook you the most divine breakfast you've ever had. You hear the grumbling of the miners that slept in the tavern. For fuck's sakes. All I want is a fucking beer first thing in the morning. Is that too much to fucking ask for? And the entire village, sort of 200-300 people overall, coming from all directions, and the sort of more spread out farms out the ways, all head into this village square. And again, you can see the mayor is stood in the podium, and his daughter is still not to be seen. Friends and neighbours, I come to you now with a sorrowful heart. It appears that our truce and our peaceful ways here in Toranoa are severely under threat. Crudan, the Fire Eater, has decided that no longer is our gold enough to keep him off our back, and we have to make a choice here. Now, we can choose to not heed his warnings. If we do so, our village will burn just like Faldun Torrid. Not a week passed, so I was told. Alternatively, return in anyone who seeks to overthrow Crudan and stop his ways. You see the old dwarven gentleman that was so kind to you pulls up in his little wheelchair. You fucking what, you fucking coward? There's a reason we call you the silent fucking mayor. You make decisions without even consulting us. You've already decided to turn on us. I can see it in your eyes. It's not the first time I've seen that look. But by my wooden leg, standing outside my grave, will you dictate to us exactly what we're going to do? Now, look, please don't. And you see another person pipe up. This is someone you are yet to meet, but have only heard of. You see him step forward. This rugged, elderly orc, battle scarred, weapons aplenty on his person, but nothing more than a rake in his hand. I've told you. He's an orc. I've told you all before, and I will tell you all again. Our life is fleeting. I was once a master of the greatest tribe here in these lands. Before that dragon decided that we were more than just a snack to him. Now I agreed to live in peace with you all. But now he's bringing the fight to us. On my life, my adopted name here in this village is Mr. Kearney, and my blood name as the throat cutter of the Southern Peaks. I might be old, and I'm slower than I was a few years ago. But I haven't forgotten the scars that fucker left on my skin. If he wants a rebellion to rise, we'll give him a fucking rebellion to rise. No, look, that's not what I'm saying. Can we please all just calm down just for a second, please? And again, the village falls dead silent amongst whispers. I've already decided what I am going to do. The sacrifice I'm willing to make. I will bring peace to this village once more. No one will have to raise a sword nor a shield. No one will have to pay a penny more in gold. The only one that will suffer is my family. I will tell him I found a rebellion. I will tell him I found those that are rising up against him. And I will turn them in myself. I mean, the crowd is fairly dense, and, you know, people can obviously see you in amongst them, but, you know, whilst they're a community that knows everybody, there's a few other passers-by in here as well, so you're not completely standing out. I don't believe that within this village there are those with a heart to really start a true rebellion. There are those who will speak of it, aye, but not those willing to actively fight. And you see Mr. Kearney turn with a murderous glare towards the mayor. So, he's saying he doesn't believe that anyone within this village would actively take up arms. He believes there are those who wish they could, but won't. But in order to calm down Crudan, he's saying that he will make a sacrifice within his own family to quell Crudan and just tell him that he's found the source, essentially. As you ask this question, can you make me a persuasion check? Ooh. Don't forget you have an inspiration for doing the recap. Yeah. Would you like to use your inspiration? For that too. Ooh, that's a jump. It was nearly the two of them. You look at his face, and it kind of half drops. I am going to trust that Crudan has some level of humanity about him. I will put my daughter in his direct service. He wouldn't accept my service. He would merely just cook me alive. But my daughter, he may just spare her a most gruesome death, and she would be able to live yet. I know she's hiding somewhere down in them woods. She's always had a thing about plants. It's why I built the greenhouse. It's why I built the garden top. But I just hope that, like I say, Crudan has some level of humanity in him. That is all for this meeting. If anybody needs me or wishes to try and talk me out of it, I'll be in my hovel. Fucking hovel, pig snout. You don't know the stuff we've been through. You want to go hide in your fucking study. That's it, walk away. Walk away before I live up to my fucking name. As you see Mr. Kearney slam his rake bottom side down into the dirt, and you watch as it sinks about 3/4 of the way down. People trying to sort of hold him back, friends and locals. Because fighting only brings death, my friend. As most of us here already know. Can I get a couple of perception checks? Spinel, whilst all this conversation is going on, why am I not getting what I need up? There we go. That's what I was looking for. You will have noticed, Spinel, as Councillor Maroon, the very kind gentleman that gave you all a fine, throughout this entire speech, wasn't paying attention to the mayor, he was paying attention to the crowd. And every time people started to speak up, he would be writing things down on his little chipboard. Perhaps. Yeah, sure. Let me stealth check. Nice. I just imagine Spinel going, 1 minute, digging down into the ground, burrowing underneath the councillor and popping up like almost just behind his shoulder without him ever even seeing. And as you sort of look over, you see he's just written a list of names. Mr. Kearney being one of them. And Big Apple being another. Obviously he's written his actual name, not the nickname down, but that is the other one. So he's basically written down the names of the people that were speaking out against him, against Crudan. Sure. So, as you kind of move around, let's put you sort of, you kind of move around here. Let's drop. Where is it? So, as you cast Detect Magic, he doesn't have any magical items on him or on his person. There's nothing magical about this individual. However, either Lunavar or Spinel can make me a perception check in this moment. Because at this moment the crowd are still sort of talking amongst themselves, and you haven't seen that, or he hasn't noticed that you guys are sort of starting to slowly close in on him. Either Lunavar or Spinel, because I'm going to have something else for Genevieve in a second. Not bad. On a 14, you notice a rather strange pouch that is fairly well concealed on his person, but is not from the south of Matador. And you would know that's not from the south of Matador because you've been in Falden Turek, you've been in obviously Toronol, you've seen people in passing. Nobody's had a pouch like this. This is a black, almost hand-sewn pouch for keeping gold. Sure, make a sleight of hand check. Yeah, you can give him assistance. So, are you rolling guidance as well? Cool. Cool. So, roll sleight of hand again with advantage this time. Nice. Literally maxed it out that time. So on your first attempt, you kind of get up really close and you go to reach, and he kind of moves in a really awkward way, making you nearly lose your grip, your footing. And as you do, you see an opportunity and kind of just fall forwards and grab it as you fall forwards. And again, he's nose down in his writing, so he's not paying attention. As you grab hold of it, you sort of peek inside, and you notice there's about 150 gold pieces in this one pouch, which is an exceptionally large amount of cash for anyone to be carrying around, especially a politician. Oh no, you've already got it in your hands. Like, you've fallen forward, grabbed hold of the pouch and pulled it off of his belt without him even realising. 150. So you're going to head down to the farmhouse? Yeah. Sure. See, that's it. Appleworth. So, you guys get to... That's not what I'm looking for, that's not what I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking for. So, you guys... That's the one. Get to around here. And as you sort of travelling south, he's obviously not very quick because of the wheelchair grass does not work very well. And he sort of rotates hearing you sort of coming behind him. He goes, "Ah, hello there, friend. I trust you got a good sleep." Yeah. You reckon there's a snitch within the village? Well, as disheartening as that sounds, I find it very hard to believe. I mean, who do you think it is? If I thought, if I thought that for even a brief second that someone within the village would betray us all, I'd have outed them myself. I find it very hard to believe. Like, don't get me wrong, there's people in here I can't stand, but to turn to the dragon, it just doesn't sound right, especially in a village like as small as ours. Councillor Maroon? Maroon. He goes, I had dealings with him. He's the one that comes around and we have to pay, you know, half our blood and quarter of a shoe just to keep him occupied. Now, you are asking some very personal questions. I hope you don't think I'm the snitch. Well, let's see. Our little farm, it makes perhaps 15 gold a month. So that would be, yeah, a month. So that would be about 7 gold and 5 silver pieces in tax. Aye, about 50%. It's the going rate, they say, around Matador, so, you know, it supposedly keeps Crudan off your back and he'll let you live relatively peacefully. Well, I mean, Mr. Kearney next door, he, you know, he's no businessman, let's be honest. He's a bit rough around the edges, and if you don't get the price he likes, well, let's just say it takes all of his strength not to live up to his name. He's a nice enough fellow once you really get to know him, but he's slow to trust people, especially strangers. But, you know, he makes maybe 2.5 gold a month. And he's paying a gold piece in taxes every month. You know, we got our little smither up there, and he does fairly good business, especially with them folk that come through here. You know, earning perhaps 25, 50 gold per month and pays half. It depends on what you earn. All sorts of people. You know, it's not very often that we have people that stay, but people that pass through are relatively common, especially tradespeople. Ah, you're thinking of joining our little village, are you? Well, remember, if you decide to march, I'm gonna march with you. I might only have wheels, but these wheels do far more than roll on dirt. unusual bag of coins, you see. Now you've piqued my interest. Describe this bag to me, if you will. No. That mother... Sorry, go. That motherfucking double-dipping piece of shit. Aye, it will be very, very soon. And you see him turn his wheelchair very, very slowly towards his farmhouse. He looks at it with a very, very regretful look. Ignitia, darling, tell our boys we're about ready to rip into this place. She looks at him. There's no stopping you, my darling, is there? Not this time. You leave this one to me. He pulls off his leg and once again turns it into the bolt shooter. I'm just going hunting. There's no need. Last thing I want to see is you lot in chains. But me, I'm an old man. I don't care if I end up in chains in a cellar somewhere. You see his boys coming, all three of them. Nothing but farm weapons in hands, but effective when used correctly. And they all march towards the village square as things are quietening down over there. I'm just going to drop you the quick way down. Yeah, of course. So you guys head back up towards the village square, and as I say, people have now kind of dispersed, going about their daily business, and Councillor Maroon is not anywhere to be seen at this moment, within the village square at least. Now, as I say, there's a number of shops and small homes dotted around. Mr. Kearney is still stood by the rake that was implanted deep into the ground, and he's kind of just sitting there with one leg stretched all the way out. You're right there, Ackleworth. Seems we have some business, old friend. No, that's Mr. Kearney. And here comes Ackleworth. And then the boys. One lad. Two lads. Three lads. The orc stands up, approaches Ackleworth, and obviously sees you guys amongst them. What's this then? You lot all working together now, are you? Working with strangers, are we, Ackleworth? Well, come on now, don't be shy, I won't cut your throats just yet. Yes, he's a friend of Ackleworth. But he's addressing you guys, he's sort of saying to Ackleworth, you know, you working with strangers now, people that aren't from here, kind of thing. If you remember that, yeah, if you remember, he said, even Ackleworth said, he's not the most friendly of people to strangers. So, I hate to say this to you, Ackleworth, but I told you so, didn't I? I told you that mayor was a no good double-dipping dipshit. Not the mayor, Mr. Kearney. The councillor. Are you really going to defend the guy that's going to send his own daughter away? I don't defend him, but I sure as hell can't stand a traitor. And what about you, Tree? Eh? Willing to take up arms, defend us old stranger's home? What's in it for you? He said, what about you lots? He said, you're willing to stand up and defend a stranger's home. What's in it for you? Decent human. Never met one of them. Because I tell you what, if you're wrong, there's gonna be a problem. If you prove to me that you ain't loyal, and that you'll stab us all in the back, I'll live up to my name with you lot and all. Throat slasher of the Southern Peaks. It ain't no threat, princess. Well, if you be looking for that no good son of a bitch counselor, you'll find him over there. He's visiting the forge as we speak. As he points to this building over here. Oh, don't mistake yourself. He's mine. But it would be good to have some cannon fodder in front. What, Mr. Lynch Mob? Yeah, I'm just gonna group you all, click and drag you all together when I can find there it is. Do. So, who wants to go to the door? Okay, I'll try and shrink down the map for next session. I can splice the map into 2 or 3 pieces, so... In fairness, the map is like ridiculously big. It's like 500 feet across. Well, if I do this, the top now. So if I get rid of that, and just try that and see if that works any better for you. Hopefully it does. So, who wants to go to the door? Yeah, I'm just putting the boys. Genevieve, where do you want to be standing? Genevieve? Oh, sure. Time for one of my favourite mixes that I created on this. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? Ah, I've lost it. I had this. Oh, there it is. You open the door, and in there you can see Councillor Marie, signified by the giant B. And he is currently counting out coin that was obviously given to him by the dwarves in the forge, who are busy making armour and weapons. Oh yes, the fine, yes, you're the undesirables that didn't make themselves known. Yes, coming in. Oh, yes, fine. As you see him sort of, with the coin in his hand, like, gets to the door and kind of looking at the coin in his hand, he's kind of tapping his belt. Obviously, clearly looking for his pouch. He turns back around and steps back into the forge. Gentlemen, which one of you has taken my pouch? It was right here on my belt. None of us, sir. We've been busy the entire time, and you've been here yourself. You know we haven't touched your money. Please. It wasn't us. He turns back around and sort of sees your hand holding the pouch in the doorway. He doesn't move. He just turns around. And where did you find that, may I ask? Do you now? Well, come inside and let's talk. We don't want the whole neighbourhood knowing our business, now do we? It's too late for that. Come out here, you double-dipping piece of shite. Oh dear. It looks like the old men of the village are growing a backbone. We can't have this. And you see, as he turns, it's the old man in the wheelchair. Sorry, old boy, but I can't have you being a problem. As you see a burning ball of fire appear and basically ram into Appleworth. Can everyone roll me some initiative, please? Yes, of course, again. Okay. No worries. I have no idea. I'm assuming his abilities and things and feats that are coming into play there. So, top of the round, Lunavar. Okay, so roll the attack. That's a hit. And you're just grappling him, aren't you? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, he's got to make a save. It's 8 plus your strength plus your proficiency. Yeah. He fails. He's grappled. So, as you go to move away, as if out of thin air, you see the edge of a spear coming towards you, and you sort of just narrowly manage to avoid getting struck by it as you continue to drag him outside. Okay. He should have done actually, so I'll get him to make that concentration check now. He does make the save. Nope, that's added to the wrong thing. Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, I can do the grapple. That's not a problem. Right, that's all set now. That's a hit. Oh, we failed and the flame sphere disappears. Spinel. That you're aware of. you can make a perception check. Yes. Oh, Christ. Okay, alright. Skills. There's a skills, okay. And you're just trying to see if there's anyone else around, aren't you? So, whilst there is no one that you can actually see, you did see from a distance the edge of a spear suddenly appear as if from thin air, not too far away from Lunabar when he was dragging the counsellor out. You cannot. Yes, actually you could. I was just about to say. That's right, you go ahead, feel free. I don't mind. Yeah. Sure. So. Yeah. So. You may take a shot at this individual, but as they appear partially ethereal. They look almost like a phantom rather than a solid person. But you may make your attack. You're gonna shoot an arrow, aren't you? You said. That is a miss. As this arrow appears to just flutter through them. I did say appears to. I didn't say does. And again, tries to get you with the sphere, Lunavar, and to no avail. This one is going to come out. And I'll take his turn. He does. Oh, no. Well. Once again, disappear from vision. As another one appears. And appears to try and take a chunk out of Ackleworth, and does indeed take a chunk out of Ackleworth. And vanishes. And finally, he's going to go over there. Briefly appear. appears. It's just, there we go. So, you see Ackleworth is now certain of what he needs to do. You watch as he kind of pulls off one of the arms of his chair and draws it out, revealing a short sword as he goes to swing it. And misses, because of course he does. And he is going to take one more swing. Ooh, for the nat 20. The boys are going to rush in, because of course they are. Not exactly the most intelligent. And there's a hit. Second lad charging in, blocking off the foundry, the forge, and missing, and the final one. Rush in. And miss. Genevieve. It's your turn. There's still space next to him. Yeah. The door is now blocked. As you do so, there's a reaction, which misses. As this spear suddenly appears, disappears. Okay. Wiz save. A wisdom save. Nice. He did also save on the wisdom. That's a lot of damage. He is looking hurt. Unlike Timotheus, I did not foresee this. You might do being a fighter. Let me just double check. No. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. so non-lethal attack, basically. Okay. He just kind of... Nope. Unless you have something that allows you to reroll that nat 1, it will be an auto miss. So it would still fail because it's a nat 1. In combat, natural 1s will always be an automatic miss. Unfortunately. You have savage attack? Yes, you automatically deal your strength. Which is 3. So yeah, he will take 3 points of damage. Which I've applied. I like Graze. I think Graze is a fantastic ability and a great way to stop fighters from going, oh, that one. Okay, I'm not doing anything then. So he needs to make one of these. Okay. You will see Mr. Kearney, his eyes turn bloodshot as he loses composure and becomes berserked. Which means that until he breaks the berserk, he will attack his enemies first, but if there's no enemies, he starts attacking everyone else around him until he calms down. It does also give him advantage. And he rolls up to 6, because of course he does. So Councillor Maroon is very, 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 very injured. I missed that bit. So let's do this. You feel your grip suddenly lessen than ever as he turns into nothing but a steamy mist. Reappears 30 foot north of you. All wait. You all wait. He will be coming for you all. You have tombed yourselves. He'll be most interested to know who the traitors in this village are. And he is going to also use his movement speed if he has no other. Actually, that's a... Yeah, so he's going to move his movement speed 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30. And then... What's the range on this? suddenly feel a cold wind blow around you as thick, columnless clouds appear above you, grey and heavy with cold weather. With Lunavar and Mr. Kearney succeeding and everyone else failing, you see a hail start to fall from the sky, pummeling all of you. The three boys perish under this cold storm. You hear Ackleworth scream with rage and pain and anger. You should have stopped me whilst you had the chance. And now I make my leave. Lunavar, it is your turn. As you watch these three young dwarven lads destroyed by this snowstorm. That hits. How do you want to finish off Counts the Maroon? I was just about to say, I think that is a very nice place to